Beneath the hallowed floors of the Vatican, far from the public gaze, a legend persisted. It was a story whispered only in the most secluded corridors of power, a tale of a vault sealed since the dawn of the Church. They called it the Archivum Obscurum, the Vault of Eternal Silence. This was not the famed secret archives, a place of historical documents and papal bulls. No, this was something else entirely. A place said to hold not just history, but truths that could shatter the very foundations of faith and civilization. Its existence was denied by every official decree, yet the whispers never truly faded away, echoing through the centuries. For generations, a clandestine order known as the Custodes Silenti, the Guardians of Silence, was tasked with protecting this vault. They were men of deep faith and unshakable resolve, chosen from the highest echelons of the Swiss Guard and the Vatican clergy. Their identities were a closely guarded secret, their lives dedicated to a single solemn vow to ensure that the contents of the Archivum Obscurum never saw the light of day. Rumors spoke of what lay within its impenetrable walls, manuscripts penned by figures long before Christ, artifacts humming with an otherworldly energy, and a central object of such immense power that its revelation could plunge the world into chaos. Was it a weapon? A forgotten gospel? A gateway to another realm? No one knew for sure. The legends described items that defied all known history and science. There were whispers of a codex bound in a strange metallic substance, its pages filled with astronomical charts that depicted constellations not visible from Earth. They spoke of a crystalline skull that was said to sing a haunting melody on the vernal equinox, a song that could supposedly rewrite human memory. It was also rumored to house the lapis exilis, the fabled stone that fell from Lucifer's crown during his descent from heaven, an object said to hold the key to both ultimate creation and absolute destruction. These were not mere historical curiosities. They were paradoxes, objects that should not exist, locked away from a world not ready for them. The Guardians understood their duty with chilling clarity. They were not merely protecting relics, they were safeguarding reality itself. The knowledge contained within the vault was a double-edged sword, capable of enlightening humanity, but far more likely to condemn it. What if the accepted timeline of human history was a carefully constructed lie? What if the origins of religion were not divine, but something far more ancient and terrifying? The Custodes Silenti believed that some truths were too dangerous to be known, that humanity, in its arrogance and fallibility, would inevitably misuse such profound power. And so they watched, they waited, and they kept the silence, preserving a fragile peace built upon a foundation of secrets. Dr. Elena Moretti was a woman who lived among ghosts. A brilliant linguist at the University of Bologna, her world was one of dead languages and forgotten scripts. She could decipher the cryptic symbols of the Etruscans and read the lost dialects of ancient Sumeria as easily as she could read a modern newspaper. One rainy Tuesday, a package arrived at her office. It was small, wrapped in simple brown paper with no return address. Inside, nestled in black velvet, was a single, hand-pressed sheet of parchment. The letter was penned in a flawless Latin script, written with an ink the color of dried blood. It was an invitation, one that made the hairs on her arms stand on end. The message was brief, yet its implications were enormous. It spoke of a discovery, a text that had baffled the Vatican's finest scholars for centuries. It mentioned her specific obscure dissertation on pre-Sanskrit proto-languages, a subject so niche that only a handful of people in the world even knew of its existence. The letter was signed with a simple, cryptic symbol, a key intertwined with a serpent. The Vatican. How did they know about her work? More importantly, why were they contacting her now, with such secrecy and urgency? The invitation felt less like a request and more like a summons, a pull from a world she had only ever read about in forbidden histories. Her mind raced, connecting dots that had previously seemed unrelated. She recalled the hushed rumors from her mentors about the Vatican's true archive, a collection that went far beyond the publicly acknowledged one. They spoke of texts that predated the flood, of artifacts that defied explanation. Could this be real? Was the legend of the Archivum Obscurum more than just a myth for academics to debate over glasses of Chianti? The crimson ink seemed to mock her skepticism, its ancient pigment a testament to a tradition that had long outlived empires. An enclosed train ticket to Rome for the following morning lay beneath the parchment. There was no option to decline. The letter made that implicitly clear. Eleanor packed a small bag, her heart a frantic drum against her ribs. She was stepping out of the comfortable, predictable world of academia and into the heart of a conspiracy that had been brewing for 2 millennia. The journey to Rome was a blur of rain-streaked windows and anxious thoughts. She was met at Termini Station not by a priest in clerical robes, but by a stern-faced man in a tailored suit who introduced himself only as Silas. He belonged to the Swiss Guard, but his eyes held a gravity that went beyond simple duty. As they drove through the ancient city, the weight of history pressed down on her, the familiar stone monuments now looking like silent witnesses to a secret she was about to uncover. Silas led Elena through a labyrinth of private corridors deep within the Vatican Apostolic Library, far from the ornate halls frequented by scholars. They stopped before a wall of unassuming bookshelves. With a sequence of movements that was clearly a well-practiced ritual, Silas removed 3 specific leather-bound volumes. A low grinding sound echoed in the silence as a section of the wall receded, revealing a dark narrow staircase spiraling down into the earth. The air that rose from the opening was cold and ancient, carrying the scent of petrichor and something else, something metallic and ozone-like. This was the entrance to the legend. This was the way into the vault of eternal silence. The descent felt endless. The stone steps were worn smooth by the passage of countless feet over untold centuries, each one a step further away from the known world. The only light came from a simple lantern Silas carried, its flickering flame casting long dancing shadows that seemed to writhe like living things. Eleanor could feel the pressure changing, the air growing thick and heavy, charged with a strange energy that made her skin tingle. She was a linguist, a woman of logic and reason, yet every instinct screamed that the laws of her world did not apply here. She was walking into the heart of a mystery, a place where faith and fear converged. When they finally reached the bottom, Silas unlocked a massive door forged from a single seamless piece of black stone. It swung open without a sound, revealing the Archivum Obscurum. The chamber was vast, a circular room whose ceiling was lost in impenetrable darkness. It was not a library of books, but a museum of the impossible. In the center of the room, on a raised dais, rested a pulsating orb of obsidian, crisscrossed with veins of light that shifted and changed. Around the room's perimeter, artifacts were displayed in recessed alcoves, each one a silent testament to a forgotten age. Elena's breath caught in her throat. The rumors, the legends, they were all true. Her eyes darted from one marvel to the next. She saw a floating globe of water held in place by an unseen force, within which miniature, impossible creatures swam. In another alcove, a suit of armor was displayed, crafted from a material that seemed to drink the light around it, its design unlike anything from human history. She saw tablets covered in cuneiform that shifted and rearranged themselves as if telling an infinite story. Her mission, Silas explained, was to focus on the central artifact, the Oraculum Mundi, the world oracle. The text spiraling across its surface was the key to everything, but it was locked, its language morphing, protected by a series of cosmic locks known as sigils. Elena's task was revealed. The Oraculum Mundi was becoming unstable. The ancient sigils that held its power in check were fading, and she was the only one with the linguistic skills to decipher the clues needed to find their replacements. Her quest would not be within the dusty confines of the vault, but across the globe. She was to travel to the world's most sacred and remote locations, from a hidden temple in the Himalayas to a sunken city off the coast of Peru, collecting the energies of these places into new sigils. The Vatican would provide the means, but she alone had to face the dangers. Each journey was a race against time, a perilous expedition into the heart of ancient cultures. With each sigil she successfully retrieved and placed upon the oracle, a new layer of the vault's secrets was unlocked. A sigil from the sun-drenched pyramids of Egypt revealed a new section of the archive, containing star charts that detailed the genesis and death of stars with terrifying accuracy, knowledge modern science was only beginning to grasp. A sigil from the depths of the Amazon rainforest unveiled a collection of biological specimens, flora and fauna that existed outside the known tree of life, hinting at a separate parallel evolution. The truths were staggering, each one chipping away at the established doctrines of history, science, and religion. The danger grew with every revelation. The knowledge was a poison. It seeped into her dreams, twisting her perception of reality. The oracle showed her visions, glimpses of humanity's possible futures, most of them ending in fire and ruin. It showed her the origin of the vault, not as a prison for dangerous knowledge, but as a lifeboat, a final repository of a civilization far older and more advanced than her own, which had destroyed itself with the very power she was now unleashing. The Custodes Silenti were not just guardians, they were the descendants of the survivors, sworn to prevent humanity from making the same catastrophic mistakes. The secrets were not meant to be shared because they proved that humanity was inherently self-destructive. After months of perilous travel, Eleanor returned with the final sigil. As she placed it on the oracle, the orb flared with a blinding light, and the final truth was revealed. It was not a text or a vision, but a choice. The oracle offered her the power to guide humanity, to use its infinite knowledge to reshape the world as she saw fit. The temptation was immense, but she saw the trap. She had seen the hubris that led to the fall of its creators. With tears streaming down her face, Elena made her decision. She used the oracle's own power to reverse the process, strengthening the locks and sealing it once more, burying the secrets deeper than ever before. She chose silence, becoming a guardian herself, forever changed by the burden of knowing that some truths are too dangerous to be free, and that some vaults are never truly sealed forever.